Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your betting game by hitting that subscribe button and never miss out on our daily content. Want exclusive access to premium betting picks? Join our Patreon. Links waiting for you in the comment section below. Stay ahead of the game with High Stakes. Toledo versus Buffalo. Even with the extra rest, it's tough to build a solid case for the Buffalo Bulls in this matchup. Toledo's quarterback, Dequan Finn, is head and shoulders above Buffalo's Cole Snyder, and the Rockets' defense is simply on another level. Toledo's defense is a brick wall against the run, ranking 7th in the nation, allowing just 2.7 yards per carry. Buffalo's offense, which relies heavily on its ground game, will find it nearly impossible to sustain drives against a unit like this. To put it bluntly, expect the Toledo Rockets to take control and win by double digits, covering the minus 9.5 spread on the road. Buffalo's offense has been a disaster, failing to score a single point against Missouri and managing just 3 points against UConn. With that kind of output, the Bulls don't seem likely to crack this tough Toledo defense. But don't expect Toledo to light up the scoreboard either. They've been averaging just 25.5 points over their last 2 games and have a lengthy injury list to navigate. So, while they should win comfortably, this won't be a high-flying affair. The smarter play here: take under 44.5 points as the best bet. Both offenses are limping, and Toledo's defense should stifle any chance of Buffalo turning this into a shootout. Clemson versus Wake Forest. I'm rolling with Wake Forest on Saturday afternoon, but I'm not in any rush to lock this bet in just yet. I'm waiting to see if the spread creeps up to a full 21 points, but even if it doesn't, I'm still confident in taking Wake Forest at this big number. The Demon Deacons are poised to make some noise, and I believe they'll cover. Now, I'm expecting a high-scoring affair this weekend. While Clemson's quarterback Cade Klubnik has shown some flashes of potential, I'm not fully sold on him, especially when laying more than 20 points. With the total set in the 60s, Clemson would need to drop 40-plus points and completely run away from Wake Forest to cover this spread. We saw the Tigers' offense cool down last week, only putting up 29 points against Florida State. That performance made me question Clemson's legitimacy as a true powerhouse. Sure, they've got talent, but there are still doubts. On the other hand, Wake Forest may not be the most reliable squad, but they've got a weapon in veteran quarterback Hank Bachmeier. This guy's been slinging it for years, racking up nearly 10,000 passing yards and 58 touchdowns in his career. I'll take a shot on Wake Forest keeping things close, especially at home. My pick: Wake Forest Demon Deacons plus 20.5 points. But let's not kid ourselves. Clemson will find some success offensively. They're going up against a Wake Forest defense ranked 112th in the nation, allowing 35.5 points per game against FBS teams. Clemson is finally starting to click offensively, averaging 39.4 points per game this season. I think they can push into the low 40s in this one. Here's where it gets interesting though. Clemson's defense isn't the monster it used to be. They're giving up 220.4 passing yards per game, ranking just 72nd in the country. And guess who's waiting to take advantage? Hank Bachmeier. With nearly 10,000 collegiate passing yards under his belt, he's the perfect candidate to put up 28-plus points on this Tigers defense. Wake Forest is already averaging 30.6 points per game, so we're not asking for anything out of the ordinary here. I think the Demon Deacons can keep pace and put pressure on Clemson throughout. Give me the over 60.5 points in what should be a thrilling, high-scoring contest. Ball State versus Kent State. The quarterback injuries at Kent State have laid bare just how dismal this Golden Flashes offense has become. They've managed a pitiful 11.0 points per game over their last 3 contests, while Ball State, on the other hand, has been far more productive, averaging 27.7 points during that same stretch. But it's Kent State's defense that's the real shocker, surrendering over 50 points per game, an outright disaster. It's hard to picture a scenario where the Golden Flashes keep this one competitive, let alone score enough to make it interesting. The Cardinals are simply the better team across the board this year. When it's all said and done, my pick is Ball State Cardinals minus 7 points. This game looks like a clear mismatch, and it's hard to see the Golden Flashes keeping up with their third-string quarterback in play. With both Devin Kergman and J.D. Sherrod sidelined for the season, Kent State is scrambling for answers on offense, but it's tough to patch things up when your QB play is this shaky. Despite having a week off to regroup, the continuity just isn't there, and it's nearly impossible to overcome bad quarterback play, especially when the ground game isn't picking up the slack. Speaking of the ground game, neither of these teams can run the football worth a lick. Ball State is scraping together just 2.9 yards per carry, 124th in the NCAA, while Kent State is even worse, plodding along at a dismal 1.8 yards per attempt, 134th. That means long drives and consistent scoring will be hard to come by. Take the under 59.5 total points as the better bet in this game. Both defenses may be struggling, but these offenses are in even worse shape. This feels like a low-scoring slog where neither team has the firepower to light up the scoreboard. Play it smart and go with the under. Missouri versus Massachusetts. Rating. Neither team has done well in terms of covering the spread this season, but there is a significant difference between being a team in the Southeastern Conference like the Missouri Tigers and struggling as an independent program like the UMass Minutemen have done thus far. The Tigers struggled last week against the Texas A&M Aggies and should be able to improve upon that outing. Even though this Minutemen program is joining the MAC next season, this is still way too large of a skill gap to feel like it will be nothing but a complete rout. Tyson Famakan is going to have difficulty in this game as the Tigers' defense, especially up front on the line of scrimmage, is going to make things difficult. Expect to see Missouri focus on containing Famakan in the pocket and not allow him to run as UMass leading rusher. All in all, go with the Missouri Tigers minus 27.5 points. This is going to depend on how many points the UMass Minutemen can score, as a majority of the points will come from the Missouri Tigers. This Missouri defense is one of the best in college football, despite last week's showing, and should be able to force a bunch of 3-and-outs. In terms of Missouri's offense, they can score well in the first half, but struggle to do so in the fourth quarter, ranking 126th in the country with just 3.8 points per fourth quarter. The special teams do not have breakout plays for either side either, so go with under 54.5 points to hit. Georgia Tech versus North Carolina. Give me the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets at -5 in this one over UNC on the road. Georgia Tech has been the better team all year and is coming into this one with a big win over previously undefeated Duke by a score of 24-14. The Yellow Jackets have had close losses against good teams, and with Haynes King taking a massive leap at QB this year, Georgia Tech looks like the real deal. When Georgia Tech allows fewer than 31 points, they are undefeated this season, and UNC has failed to score more than 24 points against a power conference opponent so far this season. UNC are struggling mightily right now, losing their last 3 games, including by 20 at home to a G5 opponent, and they have lost their last 2 home games by a combined 30 points. My team pick is Georgia Tech -5 points. I have the under of 59.5 points in this one on Saturday afternoon between these two schools. 59.5 points is a high total no matter who is playing, but especially when neither team has scored 30 points against a power conference opponent once this season. UNC did allow 70 points to JMU a few weeks back, which is certainly a cause for concern, but that seems to have been a one-week aberration, as they put up far more respectable performances on defense against good ACC squads in Duke and Pitt. The Yellow Jackets are also coming off of a game where they held a good Duke team to just 14 points as well. For you over to hit, both teams would have to show a scoring prowess they have yet to exhibit this season. My total pick is under 59.5 points.